And most souls in America need surgery because they are waking up day after day, going into lifeless existences at work, where they spend most of their day, by the way, where they don't enjoy it. It is not fulfilling to them. They're wondering why they're even there.
Welcome to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. I'm your host, Ralph Owens, along with Terry Baylor. In The Soul of Leadership Part 5, Lawrence dives into the concept of bleed a while. He talks about the power of resilience, and he digs deeper into the concept of the soul of leadership. Let's go.
It might,
Yes.
it might have hurt me. It might have. See, there's a difference between you being injured and you being incapacitated.
So true. So true.
Injury might hurt. I might walk with a limp for a while, but I'm still moving.
That's right.
But sometimes we can treat an injury as an incapacitation where we can't move. And sometimes there are certain hurts and betrayals where maybe you don't move for a while. You heal, right? So the book that I wrote for some of my athletes, because when I was working with them, they were dealing with so much, right? I called it bleed a while. And the reason I called it bleed a while is because it comes from this chant that from an admiral's speech that says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to fight until I can't fight." He's like motivating his troops. This is a naval guy. He's motivating his troops. And he's saying, "We will fight until we can't fight anymore. And he's like, not if, but when we can't fight anymore, we're going to lie down. We're going to bleed a while. Then we're going to get up and fight some more." So he's like, "I'm going to fight till I can't fight anymore. And when I can't fight anymore, I'm going to lie down. I'm going to bleed a while. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight some more." In life, you will get knocked down. You will bleed.
Yes, sir.
But are you willing to do what it takes to lie down and bleed a while?
That's right.
Everybody will have to bleed a while.
Yeah.
But what happens while you bleed? You can either let yourself bleed out and die right where that injury took place, or you can allow the bleeding to do what it's supposed to do. Because bleeding is supposed to provide clots to stop the bleeding.
Yep.
Bleeding is supposed to help to place scars where cuts were.
That's good.
So that you can get up and fight some more. A lot of people will allow the cuts of life and the injuries from life, from people that they trusted or from leaders that they thought would help them move ahead in life, to keep them incapacitated. But what helps you to move forward into your areas of influence and authority that you've been created to occupy in this earth is your ability to get up and fight some more. So what do you have to do? You have to bleed a while. So we get that, all right? But you have to remember why. I remember there was a group in Nigeria. They wanted me to talk to their students about resilience. And I remember in my prep, I was doing all this prep to do this speech on resilience. And then I just paused, Ralph. I said, this doesn't make sense. Why would I teach someone on how to be resilient?
Who's been?
Well, not only that, Terry, but I won't teach you on how to be resilient without first giving you a reason to be resilient.
That's powerful.
Resilience requires a reason.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, sir.
Why should I get back up?
Yeah.
Why would I get back up? Especially if I'm going to go back out into a world that's going to continue to try to put me down. Especially if I'm going to go back into the world and experience more of those same professors who tried to tell me that I'm not good at something that I am good at. Especially if I'm going to go back into a world that doesn't want to see me be successful. Especially if I have to go back into a workplace with a leader who I know is only using me for what I can do for them and not what I'm actually good at.
Preaching
so
now, bro.
Yes,
You preaching.
Like, why in the world would I go back into a world, like, why would I be resilient if I know I'm going to go back into that?
Yes.
Well, the reason that you become resilient is when you have a deep sense of who you are, that there's a giant on the inside of you, and why you exist. There's no reason, like, why? It's illogical. Humans are like water. We follow the path of least resistance unless we have a reason not to. So we have to get well acquainted with the reason to be resilient. So I'm not going to teach you to be resilient if I haven't first given you a reason to do that.
So I think this is a great transition into your topic of the soul of leadership, right? Because ultimately that why is connecting to our God-given dream, our God-given purpose. And ultimately, that is the only why that has enough power, essence, vigor to, after bleeding a while, you know what? I got a God-given dream.
I got to get up. I got to get up. So my mentor says it like this. Sometimes you have to learn yourself well enough to hack yourself. You don't have some things you don't need to change. You just need to alter. And what he means by that is you might be afraid of quitting that job because the pay is so good, but maybe we don't get rid of that fear of quitting the job. Maybe we replace the fear with a greater one. It's not what happens if I quit. It's what happens if I don't. I shared this with a friend of mine, and I said, I'm afraid of who I become if I what I know I need to do.
That's good.
I'm gonna become resentful. I'm gonna become offended, bitter. I'm gonna I don't want to become that. So because I don't want to become that, and I don't want to know what the world looks like through those kinds of eyes, then I must do what's on the inside of me to do. Now, and this is where I believe leaders get the most out of people. And this is the concept of my next book is on leading the soul. So I've been in so many leadership organizations. I mean, Terry, you know, right? Growing up, I watched it happen as a child.
And I want to hit on that. That is,
I watched it happen as a child.
Yes,
so
several generations of it too.
Yeah, I watched it as a child. So I was around leaders, I was around leadership, and don't let me forget to bring this back around. Just because you grow up around something doesn't mean you know how to do what you saw. But we can come back to that.
That's good.
Hey, I'm already looking at booking the second show, bro. Don't even we
listen,
got too much
we
to
come
cover.
back to that. But I grew up around it, right? So I grew up around leadership organizations, and then I go into what is the absolute most prestigious leadership development institution in the world. I mean, you talk about, I'm sitting there in class, and one of my friends in class is the son of the president of Chad. I'm sitting there with a baron's son from Slovakia or something like that. I don't know. I forget what country. No, like Lithuania or some country over there, right? So everybody else in the world recognizes that if they want to send people to become the most elite, they send them there. And I'm sitting in class with these people. I mean, not just like kind of royalty. I mean, actual royalty. They send their children here, and I'm sitting in those classrooms getting this same leadership development that everybody else in that organization is getting. And then I go out into a military that is a leadership organization as a leader in this organization. And then I leave there, go back to, as a football team, leading a group of about 170 young men. And then I'm leaving there and going to seminary. While I'm in seminary, I was also working as a campus pastor, leading a volunteer organization of over 400 people with a campus that was doing 3,000 on the weekend, plus doing other work where I'm still coaching and consulting other people. So I've been around this my whole life, and these areas collided for me, where the intense theological study helped me to kind of do some research and work on what is like the makeup of the soul and like a person's life, what they're really truly after. And then look at some of our leadership sciences and see those gaps. Most folks don't understand that you're not like most leadership when it comes to trying to get more productivity doesn't go past inspiration and motivation, right? It's like bring in a motivational speaker to motivate your troop, motivate your team, or incentivize them with pay, right? It's like, okay, but if you do that, you're going to have to continue to do that. But I believe that there's something that is better than that helps to yield an even higher return on the investment. And it is the investment into the soul of your team. Now, the soul is the mind, the will, and the emotions. Now, the mind, the will, and the emotions are these things that come together that help to influence the way in which the people on your team go about the world. Their mind and the will and emotions are making decisions about whether or not they're going to call in sick. The mind, the will, and the emotions are making decisions about how much effort they're going to give at work that day. The mind, the will, and the emotions are making determinations about whether or not they're going to stay with your organization or they're going to go someplace else. The mind, the will, and the emotions are the thing that is driving all of this. And if you as a leader don't understand that or invest anything in that, then what you're going to do is always put Band-Aids over things that need surgery. And most souls in America need surgery because they are waking up day after day, going into lifeless existences at work, where they spend most of their day, by the way, where they don't enjoy it. It is not fulfilling to them. They're wondering why they're even there. Now, they might have gained a certain level of competence and proficiency to get so that you get your product.
Right.
But you don't even know the opportunity cost that you're losing out on by not investing in the soul of this individual.
Yes.
This is why certain corporations now are even like hiring chaplains, which I think is decent, but I think that there's something even better than this. And this is what I mean by like the soul. Every soul has something that it's searching for. And it's what I call its own, like the soul's own sense of significance and fulfillment. Meaning that there's something unique and special about this individual, this person, that the soul wants to live out. It's searching for it. Where do I find it? And it's made up of a few different components. And this is where I liken it to companies and organizations.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If this content blessed or helped you in any kind of way, support us today by subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking the like button for this episode, and sharing this content with others that you think it will help. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.